Hey guys, Joseph here. I hope you're doing very, very well today. Just seeing if I am showing live in the Facebook page and also the group. So great to have you all here today. If you don't know me, my name is Joseph Clough and I'm so excited to be here because it means that we're gonna learn some crazy cool things together. So let me go ahead and get some recording as we go through this. How are you all doing today? Go ahead and let me know where you're listening to from, so I can have a good idea of where you're from and who's actually here. So great to have you, Ree. Great to have you, John. And Brendan's here. Great to have you, my friend. Superb Mind Mastery member. And I also see Diane is here as well. So great to have you, my friend. So I'm so excited to be here on the Facebook page because, do you know what? I haven't been live on the Facebook page of mine for so long. I think it's been like a couple of months. I used to do it so consistently, but these days my days are just so filled up. Either I'm recording audios, I'm doing Facebook lives in the Mind Mastery group, and it can be a little bit tricky at times. So I'm really excited to be here now, though. I'm trying to figure out a way of how to get my schedule in alignment so I can actually start working in the Facebook page as much. Well, maybe not as much as in the Mind Mastery group, because obviously that is a paid membership, but to be able to give you some hints and tips and then take this audio and put it into the podcast, because I've been still doing podcasting for pretty consistently, so I'm just going to go back into using the Facebook Lives and then converting that to the podcast to save me time. So it's great to have you all here. If you are really keen and still getting these Facebook Lives, go ahead and let me know in the chat box, just so I know that you are actually wanting me to jump in live on the Facebook page. And also there's being broadcast into the Anxiety Freedom group as well, and even my personal profile, I think. But it's absolutely a pleasure to be here, and if you are ready to go ahead and learn something super awesome, now is your time to sit back and relax. In fact, I might be doing some hypnosis on here as well in a future live video. So today is really going into the subject, if you want more, you have to really give more. So if you want more happiness, if you want a better relationship, if you want to get a new relationship, if you want more financial abundance, if you want to get freedom from your issue, then it's not about anyone else. It's not even about your environment. It's all about you. You see, if you want more out of life, you have to give more. You've got to radiate it. You've got to really assume responsibility for where you are in your life right now. You may have gone through some horrible past events. You may not have been dealt with the best cards. You might have been through significant emotional events which have held you back, which have created limiting beliefs, which have created behaviors that you really don't like. We've all been there, from greater degrees to small degrees. I know I experienced blushing, anxiety, self-consciousness, fears, worries, loads of crazy stuff, and maybe you resonate with that. Maybe you're experiencing an anxiety right now that you're just sick to death of. Maybe you're experiencing a fear or a phobia. Maybe you're suffering from a sleeping issue. Maybe you're experiencing a weight issue, a relationship issue. But there's only one person who can really make that change, and that is you. You see, I remember when I was 20 years old, I went to figure out how to get a deeper connection with myself. I was like really wanting more meaning out of life. I was a therapist at that age for, 3 years? But there was still something lacking inside myself. I was getting great results from my clients, but there was something inside of me that I felt disconnected. I felt as if there was something more to me that I wanted access to. Now, for some people might say, well, that's your unconscious mind. Maybe some people will say, well, that's connection with the world or connection with God or religion. I don't really care what we label it. What I do care about, if you may have experienced something like that as well, where you're just searching for something deeper. You are searching for something more within you that you just don't know how to get there. You see, when I was in that situation, the first step for me was to ultimately ask everyone I knew who had that connection, who I could see had that deep, meaningful connection with themselves, or they were the happy people, the driven people, the motivated people, the people who are just living and loving life, those who are energetic and are just making things happen. I began to really seek out each and every person I knew in my network and even outside my network. I took action to figure out their stories. I took action to be able to figure out what their strategies were. I had to pay them money to be able to figure out what their strategies were. I mean, I wanted it so badly. I was willing to pay for their dinner, their lunch, or even just for their time so I could understand how they had that connection. How did they experience that freedom? And they gave me some great insight. They gave me something which was like, this makes sense. It was almost like a strategy that they were all running. But for some reason at that time, it didn't really automatically happen to me. Just because you know someone's strategy, it doesn't mean it's going to automatically be installed in you. So the next step for me was literally buying every audio program or video program I could. And back then, there weren't many audio online programs like there are today. It's like you had to buy it online, but you'd get the tape. I remember getting some tapes back then. I remember getting the CDs. I remember having to figure out how I could get these products and then start to listen to them to be able to apply them. And that was great information. Once again, I loved it. I mean, I'm just a lover of learning and growing as an individual, because I know if I learn and I grow, I'm going to get better and better, have the more meaningful relationships, the better connection, the transformational way of living if I begin to learn and grow. And despite those audio programs and those video courses being good, it just didn't get me what I really needed. And at this point, I was feeling really down. I was like, how can I possibly put in so much work in asking the right questions, modeling people, reading all the books, the audios, the video courses, all of that stuff, but still feel like I was lacking? Have you ever been there where you just feel like you've tried everything you can see, a book, a podcast, a hypnosis track, literally everything, but whatever happens is just not really manifesting into your life right now? Because that's how I felt. I felt as if there was just this issue that I just could not resolve. So the next step for me was ultimately to go on an inner journey. In fact, I remember when I was outside my house when I was 21 years old, and it was late at night, and by 21 I mean it was my birthday itself. I was outside my house in Cambridge, and I was reflecting on all the things that I did to be able to figure out how I could get this connection and still not experience what I really wanted. It was hard, it was stressful, it was like this constant battle, this self-talk, which was just getting in the way each and every time. It was one of those feelings of overwhelm and fear that, is life ever going to be different? Because although on the surface it seemed okay, I was making great changes in my clients, but on the inside there was something still missing inside of me. That connection with myself just was not there. So then, outside my house, and it was very late at night, as I was reflecting on all the things that I did, I was reflecting on all the processes, all the talks I had. It was almost like this flashback of all the things I did, and then something interesting began to happen. It was almost like everything really became quiet. There was a silence, as if all the trees stood still, as if all the cars just weren't there anymore. It was one of those weird feelings where everything just began to stop. And as I stopped with that moment, it was almost like a quietness was happening on the inside. And when that quietness began to grow, there was a sense of peace and there's a sense of calmness. And in that moment, I began to realize what I really needed. You see, in that one very moment, I got the answer I wanted. Regardless of all the things that I did, all the strategies, all the programs, all the books, and I mean literally like 500-600 books in that brief period of time, trying to figure it all out. And in this one brief moment, that is where I experienced what I really needed to experience. I found the solution. I had an epiphany. I had an awakening. And in that moment, it all fell into place. I realized, my big epiphany was, I realized that I could have done everything externally. I could have purchased more books. I could have gone to therapists, counselors. I could have gone on medication. I could have gone to alcohol to try to dumb down those feelings. I could have done anything on the outside. I could have done all these actions, these physical actions, and still not get anywhere. You see, it wasn't about the external whatsoever. I've been looking in the wrong place. I realized the solution was in here. I realized that I've been trying so hard on the outside to figure out the success. I actually began to lose my direction. My attention was so far outside of myself, I began to deepen the conflict I was experiencing because it only gave me more failure. It only gave me more rejection. It only gave me more doubting in myself, as if I was unfixable, as if I was broken. But I realized if I just stop putting my attention on the outside world and instead put my intention on the inside world of me, so I could begin to build the rapport, the connection of me on the inside, where I can begin to nourish my unconscious mind and build the rapport that it was vitally needed. And then more importantly, to figure out what the root cause of my issue was. You see, we try to change the external. And by that I mean we have all the symptoms showing up in our world. We know we have issues because we may experience anxiety, worries and doubts, limiting ideas. We have certain behaviors we dislike. We go into certain environments and we realize that I'm not comfortable here because of these feelings come up inside of me. Those are symptoms, right? That is how we know we have an issue. It's almost like if you break an arm, you're going to get pain there for you to pay attention to the broken arm. So then you can start to heal it. So you can start to look after it. But you don't try to let go of the pain. You try to solve the core issue, which in this case would be the broken arm. Because if you just try to solve the pain, you're going to keep on getting more pain eventually because you're not fixing the arm itself. So how do I mean that in terms of ourselves? You see, many people try to just deal with the symptoms. They try to deal with the anxiety. They try to deal with the fears and phobias. They try to deal with all the external stuff, the external symptoms, because they're the things which are present in our subjective reality. But that is not where the change happens. You see, the change is from the cause of those symptoms. It's almost like you going to the garden and you see a weed there and you think the only way you can solve the issue is just by pulling one leaf out of that weed. Would you expect it to grow back? Of course you would. You would never expect to just grab one leaf of that weed and expect it to never come back. Of course you wouldn't. What would you do? Well, you'd go right beneath the surface, right? You'll go below the surface and get it by the root of it. Because you know when you deal with the cause of where that is growing, you can just pluck it out. And therefore the symptoms, the leaves, will never be there again. So why do we expect our issues to completely change, that our life can transform if we just work on a symptom? If we just work on the symptoms that we experience, it will never happen. It's counterintuitive. Why? Because it shows up in our life, so therefore we should deal with it. But what I am proposing is something different, where instead of working on symptoms, you declare to yourself, Joseph, I am never going to work on the symptoms again. I'm just going to find the root cause of my issue. You see, when you find the root cause of the issue and you let that go, the symptoms can never come back because there's no cause to it anymore. There's no core to it. So your mission must be to be able to, rather just focusing on the outside, rather just dealing with the symptoms, you need to give more attention and intention to the root cause of your issue. You need to figure out what is the root cause of this issue. And very, very soon, in about 6 minutes' time, I'm going to share with you some ideas of how you can go ahead and do that. But what we're going to do now is take a 6-minute break, and then I'll be back to you to be able to give you some more content. Okay, so bear with me while we have a small break right now.
You ever feel disconnected, you will always have somebody to be connected with on Mind Mastery.
I would recommend Mind Mastery to everyone. Even if you don't think there's improvement that you need to make or specific steps that you need to take to improve your life, everybody can use support. Everybody can use people to guide you. We all need those kinds of guides, and reaching out to somebody, there's no shame in learning, there's no shame in asking for help, and I feel that Mind Mastery truly gives that help and support that I definitely was looking for, and that everybody can help and use a little bit.
You've got nothing to lose. You can try and find the answers everywhere else. You can waste that time, but if you give Mind Mastery a try, you won't regret it. There's so much you don't know about yourself. There's so many answers that you're looking for, which you can find in Mind Mastery.
I would say definitely join Mind Mastery. You've got the support. Joseph has got so much, to give, and so much for everyone to learn. And you have the great support with Joseph and his wife Melissa, as well as the people in Mind Mastery.
The Mind Mastery community, the online part, is an amazing group where everybody is so friendly, so supportive of one another. There is never a negative word. You can log on at any time and there will always be someone who will listen to what you've got to say, and the feedback and the positive comments are amazing. I've travelled all the way from the UK to come to San Diego and be a part of this first seminar, and there are people here from all over the world. It's been an amazing experience. There's such a good vibe, the rapport with everybody. It's amazingly well humoured as well. Although it's very serious stuff that we're doing here, it's also great fun.
Even before meeting you in person, seeing the videos, participating in the live calls, I never feel that there's a screen in between. I feel a connection even through the cyberspace, and same with the other people as well. I feel definitely a connection. You are so passionate about what you do, and it comes through whenever you give, whether it's a process or it's a spontaneous live Facebook chat after a run or something. You really live what you teach, and it comes through very genuinely. So Joseph is a very genuine, loving, giving, warm person.
Joseph, I think, is amazing. He's done amazing work, and he's helped me a lot. As I said, I don't know where I would be if I hadn't met Joseph. He's helped me in so many ways, and I don't think I could give back what he's given to me, and all I could say is thank you.
Joseph is, first of all, I just think he's an excellent hypnotherapist. That's just an absolute given, okay? In terms of running Mind Mastery, I think he's a professional. He's done this by himself. He's self-educated, self-taught. He's been on the journey. He's overcome a lot of things, so he can really teach you. He's walked the walk, and now he's talking the talk, so he can do both. And the thing that's really great is, like I said, he continues to support you throughout the process. And my highest compliment is that he is a kind, and caring man. And that makes all the difference.
Okay, so I don't know if Joseph Clough knows this, but I went online, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I was trying to deal with a driving phobia. By the way, this weekend, I've been letting other people drive me all over, okay? And somebody was telling me how great this person was, and I went and listened, and I started working with whatever stuff for free for a year or two. I was working for free with all these hypnosis, and it was helping me so much. And as soon as my mastery came on, didn't pull the trigger right away. It took me a couple months, but as soon as I felt like, okay, I have to do this, I did. And Joseph Clough has helped me so much. I would give anything to help him.
Joseph, the hypnotherapist, his work has been really amazing. I've tried other types of therapy and hypnosis before, and it's helped, but it's never resonated as much as Joseph's work has. You know, I've learned and I've grown so much through Joseph's work, and being here on the weekend and meeting him in person now as well. He's a real stand-up guy. He's fantastic to be around. He's great fun, and it's just been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Joseph is awesome. He is a legend, and he's my hero. He always knows, he always has the answers, but he never gives them to you. You have to find them yourselves, but he gives you the cues. And Joseph often says that you have it in you, and that's true. And he just brings it out. He knows the buttons to press, and you just got to press them.
Hey, so we're back again. Okay, are you ready to be able to get more to the core of the issue? Because we learned in the first section that experiencing anxieties, experiencing worries and doubts, those are just symptoms of something deeper. They're just the byproduct of something else. Now, the issue is this, right? You see, although they show up in our life, it's very, very hard to figure out what that root cause is. It's very, very hard. Why? Because it is unconscious. And it's usually very hidden. Because otherwise you would know the root cause and you would deal with it, right? You would have let it go by now. If you could just click the fingers, you would have just released and let go of the problem. So if that is true, that we've been working on our symptoms for so long, and you'll know that you've been working on symptoms if you haven't completely got the success that you want yet. Sometimes it might be the case that you're making headway, and then out of the blue, you just take 5 steps back. But you start to experience the issues again, sometimes stronger, sometimes worse. And that is sometimes when you'll know that maybe you're working on the symptoms. Definitely if you're working on behaviors, you're working on symptoms. Because there's something behind the driving force of that behavior to make it exist. So here's what I suggest for you do right now. I can't go quite into detail of how to get to the root cause because, first of all, it takes me an hour to be able to get to anyone's root cause on a one-to-one session. And that is why we get our results very quickly. It only takes usually like 4 or 5 sessions at the very most, let go of the whole issue. But it's so vitally important to get to the root cause. So although I can't spend 1 whole hour with you right now to do this, I want to be able to give you an insight. I mean, if you do want to get that, the root cause really deeply into it, then go ahead and just take the opportunity of the live offer today. Because that, guys, I did a video on it, the audio and the PDF, as if I'm there coaching you. But let's just say you're not willing to be able to part your money into yourself just yet. Then how else can we do this? Well, one idea would be this. It's not going to be profound. It's not going to completely get the result that you need because, like I said, we need more time to be able to do this. But if I were you, I would come up with a list of all the symptoms that I experience. I would just be listing them all out. If you can get like 10, 15, 20, so it could be like anxiety, number 1, self-doubt, negative self-talk, that's 2 and 3. I have this behavior, that's number 4. And you list out all the symptoms that you experience. So in other words, how you know you have an issue, how you know that you have a conflict, or how you know you have a problem. I would be listing out all of those symptoms. And then I would consider which one is the bigger one. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be the unconscious one, because like I said, you need to dive deep into how it came about, the intentions, the common themes throughout your life. I mean, there's like 21 questions you got to get through to get to that root cause. But if you at the very least, just list out your symptoms, you'll be able to understand, number 1, how there are more symptoms usually which are affecting us, which is going to give you a great drive of motivation, because usually you're not aware of what's really happening. You might go, I suffer anxiety, but when you realize you suffer in many different areas, and that can spiral out into different situations and environments, and even varying degrees on the inside to the outside world. So number 1, it's going to give you the motivation, at the very least, if you list them out. If it doesn't give you motivation after that, then you might not want to let go of your issue, because you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. When you list out those symptoms, you're like, Joseph, I am now good to let this go. That's where you got to be. Like I said, it comes from yourself. You've got to be able to give more and go deeper into what that root cause to be able to make the change. That is taking responsibility, right? That is when you go, okay, now I am ready. I'm going to assume responsibility for where I am in my life to make the change that I've been deeply craving. You got to go so deep into it that you're like, I am so willing to never experience, like I'm all in. I am all in letting go of this issue, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to let it go, to start my journey of growth. So once you go ahead and list out your symptoms, you're then going to consider what is connecting them all. Now, like I said, it might not be the root cause, but it will give you an indication to not work on some things and work on others. I mean, you may be saying to yourself, I've got loads of issues, like a shopping list of issues I want to let go of. Well, your job is to figure out what's tying them together, and that's why we say get the symptoms out on paper. And then you've got to be able to go, okay, this might be the root cause, and then you're going to focus energy on that one. If it's not the one, then you go to the next one, what you might think is the root cause. Because that is as much information as we can give right now on getting all that information, right? You've got to make a speculative guess on what that root cause is. So that will be an indication of what you can start working on today, which means once you get that, you start to apply certain processes in your life. Now, if you're in Mind Mastery, you go through the Complete Confidence course. You listen to one of the Create Your Day tracks. You go ahead and listen to the Freedom from Anxiety course. You see, once you get to that root cause and use any one of those processes, which we've dived deep into, it's going to make big changes. Or if you're not in Mind Mastery, or if you're not a Plus member of the podcast, because we've got the core issue finder in there as well and some Create Your Days. But if you're not in any one of those, then you can go ahead and think, okay, I might use this hypnosis track because it seems a little bit more in alignment with who I am, what I'm experiencing of the core issue. But I want you to declare to me to not work on symptoms. Symptoms will keep you stuck, and more often than not, it will just give you feelings of feeling like a failure. Because if you're working on symptoms, you're not working on the cause. And if you're not working on the cause, the symptoms are going to keep coming back. No matter what we try, we're going to feel like a failure. We're going to feel like unfixable. And that is why so many people experience issues. Maybe you've gone to like 10 therapists in the past and it hasn't got your result. The chances are you haven't found the hidden cause. You see, any good therapist or any good coach or any good hypnotist will spend at least an hour with you getting to the hidden unconscious cause. If they just dive straight into some generic hypnosis script, then absolutely you're not in the right place. Because it's got to be catered to your unconscious mind. You've got to figure out exactly what that is. So once you declare that you will not work on symptoms, it ultimately allows you to become a laser on that one thing that has to go. That one hidden core, which if you put 100% of your energy and attention to, rather than all the symptoms, you're going to be like a laser. It's almost like you're a light bulb trying to shine up everything, but if we harness that energy and just put it all the way down to a laser on that one thing, if you just put all that attention on the inside of you, of finding that one thing, the symptoms will no longer be able to exist. You see, deep within you, your unconscious mind is always listening. It is always eavesdropping on your thoughts. So if you're saying, I am broken and I'm unfixable, your unconscious mind is listening to that. If you're saying, I can just never change, your unconscious mind is listening to that. If you're just continue feeling that just feeling like resigned to living this way, your unconscious mind is listening to that. Deepak Chopra once said that the mind and body is always eavesdropping on you, and it's true. What you think you feel, and what you're thinking and feeling goes into your physical body, and therefore it goes out into your behaviors. So now is our time to stop with the symptoms. It is time to stop everything else which is not of value to us, and instead turn your attention to the hidden, unconscious root cause. For when you do that, you will profoundly get to your solution far quicker than you can ever imagine. So that means you can save time on this. Like, you can just save all the time like I spend, like reading the hundreds and hundreds of books, purchasing and buying all the audios and the videos and all those things without getting the result. I mean, I had to learn the hard way. But I'm so pleased I did for me at the time, because now I know what not to do, and I can also share with you that you should not be working on just symptoms. Let me put it into an analogy for you. Let's just say you have some physical ailment you want to let go of. You go to the doctors. What do? Well, they ask you, well, what are you experiencing right now? Well, I'm experiencing this symptom. I'm experiencing this symptom. And then the doctor's going to take all of those symptoms and prescribe what the root of the issue is, the cause of the issue. Any good doctor, I'm sure, would not be just going, okay, you've presented 5 issues, so I'm going to give you 5 different things on each one. They're going to probably just go, no, actually, there's something into this. There's something into this which I can see and make out that all these symptoms lead to this one thing. And if we just solve this one thing, then the physical symptoms should disappear. Of course, right? That's what any good doctor does. So why do we do this with ourselves when we're just working on the symptoms in our life? And don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to hate on other therapists, because there are some fabulous therapists out there. There are some fabulous counselors out there. There are some great coaches. There are some amazing hypnotists and hypnotherapists. There are great practitioners around the world. But many, the ones who aren't so great, will take whatever you say as a fact and then just try to eliminate each symptom. And you'll know it because you'll go after session, 10 sessions, 20 sessions, 50 sessions, 100 sessions until I don't know if you ever had this one, I don't think this is right for you. They're not placing blame on themselves here. They're placing blame on you as the client. That, oh, hypnosis won't work for you. It's just you who can't change. That is a ridiculous insult to the profession of helping someone. We have to assume that responsibility as a coach, that is actually something that we're missing. So if you've been through lots of different coaches or lots of therapists and they're just saying, well, you can't change, you are unfixable, this will not work for you, then you're dealing with someone who is not in it for you. They're in it for their own letting go of their excuses. It takes a big person to assume that responsibility and go, look, do you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to find the root cause instead. I'm going to find the root cause to get you to where you want to be. It may take time. It might mean trying different things, but we're going to get there. But many people don't do that. So do not fall into the trap of blaming oneself for this. Instead, rise up and go, look, I think Joseph's onto something here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever he says. I'm going to go all in with this, assume responsibility, and just go deep into what the core issue is. Now, the core issue, by the way, it does not have to be traumatic. It really doesn't. It's usually something so small, which just ties everything up together. So I'm going to leave that with you. If you are all in and you want to take 100% responsibility and you're prepared to invest your time in finding the root cause, now is your time. At the very least, just list out all your symptoms and try to figure that out by yourself. It'll give you a good indication. Like I said, it takes an hour at least to get to that root cause, but it will give you a far better indication to know what to focus on. That, or find a very good, and you'll know they're good because they'll be expensive. That's the downside, but you know you pay, you get what you pay for, right? And they will take the time to find the root cause. And then the third option, the most easiest and simplest, will be taking really the opportunity to really be coached by me. I'll coach you there. I'll get you to the root cause. I've got the system right there for you. But right now it is closed everywhere, bar this one moment. So I'm going to leave that with you. If you want to take access and get instant access and plugged into the support network, which will guarantee your emotional freedom, and to get coached by me personally, then go ahead and watch this video. I'll speak to you all very soon.
I would recommend Mind Mastery to anyone that wants to overcome any issue in their life, and 100%.
I would buy it for other people if I thought they'd use it, but there's no point in doing that. If you have you ever feel disconnected, you will always have somebody to be connected with on Mind Mastery.
I would recommend Mind Mastery to everyone. Even if you don't think there's improvement that you need to make or specific steps that you need to take to improve your life, everybody can use support. Everybody can use people to guide you. We all need those kinds of guides, and reaching out to somebody, there's no shame in learning, there's no shame in asking for help, and I feel that Mind Mastery truly gives that help and support that I definitely was looking for, and that everybody can help and use a little bit.
You've got nothing to lose. You can try and find the answers everywhere else. You can waste that time, but if you give Mind Mastery a try, you won't regret it. There's so much you don't know about yourself. There's so many answers that you're looking for, which you can find in Mind Mastery.
I would say definitely join Mind Mastery. You've got the support. Joseph has got so much, to give, and so much for everyone to learn. And you have the great support with Joseph and his wife Melissa, as well as the people in Mind Mastery.
The Mind Mastery community, the online part, is an amazing group where everybody is so friendly, so supportive of one another. There is never a negative word. You can log on at any time and there will always be someone who will listen to what you've got to say, and the feedback and the positive comments are amazing. I've travelled all the way from the UK to come to San Diego and be a part of this first seminar, and there are people here from all over the world. It's been an amazing experience. There's such a good vibe, the rapport with everybody. It's amazingly well humoured as well. Although it's very serious stuff that we're doing here, it's also great fun.
Even before meeting you in person, seeing the videos, participating in the live calls, I never feel that there's a screen in between. I feel a connection even through the cyberspace, and same with the other people as well. I feel definitely a connection. You are so passionate about what you do, and it comes through whenever you give, whether it's a process or it's a spontaneous live Facebook chat after a run or something. You really live what you teach, and it comes through very genuinely. So Joseph is a very genuine, loving, giving, warm person.
Joseph, I think, is amazing. He's done amazing work, and he's helped me a lot. As I said, I don't know where I would be if I hadn't met Joseph. He's helped me in so many ways, and I don't think I could give back what he's given to me, and all I could say is thank you.
Joseph is, first of all, I just think he's an excellent hypnotherapist. That's just an absolute given, okay? In terms of running mind mastery, I think he's a professional. He's done this by himself. He's self-educated, self-taught. He's been on the journey. He's overcome a lot of things, so he can really teach you. He's walked the walk, and now he's talking the talk, so he can do both. And the thing that's really great is, like I said, he continues to support you throughout the process. And my highest compliment is that he is a kind and caring man. And that makes all the difference.
Okay, so I don't know if Joseph Clough knows this, but I went online, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I was trying to deal with a driving phobia. By the way, this weekend, I've been letting other people drive me all over, okay? And somebody was telling me how great this person was, and I went and listened, and I started working with whatever stuff for free. For a year or two, I was working for free with all these hypnosis, and it was helping me so much. And as soon as my mastery came on, didn't pull the trigger right away. It took me a couple months, but as soon as I felt like, okay, I have to do this, I did. And Joseph Clough has helped me so much. I would give anything to help him.
Joseph, the hypnotherapist, his work has been really amazing. I've tried other types of therapy and hypnosis before, and it's helped, but it's never resonated as much as Joseph's work has. You know, I've learned and I've grown so much through Joseph's work, and being here on the weekend and meeting him in person now as well. He's a real stand-up guy. He's fantastic to be around. He's great fun, and it's just been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Joseph is awesome. He is a legend, and he's my hero. He always knows, he always has the answers, but he never gives them to you. You have to find them yourselves, but he gives you the cues. And Joseph often says that you have it in you, and that's true. And he just brings it out. He knows the buttons to press, and you just got to